Good morning, everyone. My name is Dan Jones, and on behalf of our clergy, board of directors, and staff of Congregation Beth Israel, I'd like to welcome you here today. Before our services begin, I'd like to share some facility information with you in case you are a newcomer to our community or simply need a refresher. In the unlikely case of an emergency, please note the exits at the rear of the sanctuary in each corner. These are in addition to the 3 entry doors at the front that you came in. The social hall also has emergency exits at each corner of the room. Upon exiting for whatever emergency, please move a safe distance away from the building and follow any staff member instructions you may be given. And finally, I wish to tell you that we are not hearing Rabbi Cantor Arlene Bernstein sing this morning. That is because a once-in-21-year occurrence has happened. Our beloved Cantor came down with a fever and a bad cold on Friday. Fortunately, she is now over the fever, but she is unable to share her beautiful voice with us this morning. As such, we are very grateful to Tracy Hirschfeld, Danny Myers, and Rabbi Gimbel, who have stepped in to sing this morning. Rabbi Bernstein has every intention of being well enough to sing with us for Yom Kippur. L'Shana Tova.
When Rabbi Akiva would pray, when he was with his community, he would go quite quickly, start and finish, trying not to slow anyone down. Right? You can imagine him in some shtibelach far away, and he would just get through it. He'd just power through. And when he would daven, when he would pray on his own, he would start in one corner of the room, start davening, start talking to Creator, and he would end up in the completely other corner of the room. So when we are by ourselves, sometimes we go a little deeper. And I want to invite us, especially because it's a bit of a more huddled group this later service, to do 2 things at once: to be together and really feel the sense of presence of each other and those folks joining us online, but to take a little bit of Rabbi Akiva's inspiration and imagine ourselves starting in one corner of the room and ending up in another. Because if we don't move, why show up? So I want to invite us to spiritually move ourselves this morning as we are here as solos and also as a community. We'll begin together on page 11. Join with me in the very bottom of the page, and let's kind of call in this energy of prayer and focus and heart. Here in this place of prayer and song, you with me? We'll try it again. Here in this place of prayer and song, hear the call that stirs the soul. All may enter, let none stand apart. Sisters and brothers, how beautiful and how good. We use those words, matovu, how good and how awesome it is to be together. And we join together in that song on page 110. Oh, did I give you the wrong page? That was the problem? Oy, gewalt. I'm so sorry. 111. Should we try it again? Here in this place of prayer and song, hear the call that stirs the soul. All may enter, let none stand apart. Sisters and brothers, how good. Yeah, you got it. Perfect. Matovu, 110.
Adonai et Ratzon, Elohim berov chasdecha, Elohim berov chasdecha, Haneni be'emet
Page 112, I promise. We'll start with the morning blessing, asking for that connection, for the line to be hot, really, for us to be learning Torah together. We'll start with the blessing at the top of the page, again, 112. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. We ask that we can be soaked in Torah and absorb that which it has to offer us. To dive right into that, please turn to page 118. And just take a moment, if you'd like, in your own meditation. I'm going to look at the top reading by Chana Senesh, a paratrooper and really a rock star that helped to create and found Israel, a very young woman who passed fighting for our country. She says, I want to make a confession. And that's what we're up to here, to make an accounting, a cheshbon, to give an accounting to myself and to God. In other words, to measure my life and actions against the lofty ideals I've set for myself, to compare that which should have been with that which was. So we'll just take a few moments of quiet reflection to do that cheshbon, that accounting for ourselves. With that as the totafot beineinenu, the center or focus for the afternoon, we turn to page 120 and thank our bodies for getting us here, for waking us up, walking us here, driving us here, sitting in the chairs, breathing as they do. In the middle of the page, join me. Blessed are you, Holy One, who has formed the human body with wisdom, an intricate network of channels, vessels, and openings, this wondrous structure and the flow of life within us. Allow us to serve you and give thanks. Let us to cherish this gift of flesh and blood. Honor it as God's creation. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. We praise you, Holy One, for wondrous acts of creation and healing. Page 121. We'll do this one responsively. You have taught us, guard yourselves well, take good care of your lives. Your word calls to us, do no harm to yourselves, do not weaken or exhaust yourself. In gratitude for the gifts of our bodies, we pray for a year of renewed health and replenished strength. May caring for our bodies become our daily practice. May we be attentive to our need for proper food, sleep, and exercise. Let no injury come to others through acts or failure to act, but let our mitzvahs be this: to build a just society in which care is a birthright and a blessing of health and a responsibility for all. We turn to the next page, 122, for Elohai Neshama, thanking God for our souls. On page 124, we begin a series of blessings that's actually described in the Talmud, and it's the description of a person waking up. So in ancient times, way before alarm clocks, there were roosters. And so the first blessing is to distinguish between day and night, and that was they called it kind of the rooster blessing. And then we'll continue on and open up our eyes. Pokeach Ivrim is that next blessing, and Matir Asurim is the description of actually someone putting on a belt, and Zokef Kifufim of rising up in their beds. So it's just a very stark reminder that our liturgy comes out of the human experience. It's not an abstract, let's come up with a prayer about, whatever. They were living their lives with an attitude of gratitude. So I'll ask us all to rise on up, and we're going to chant this one through, and it's a bit of a choo-choo train, so hop on. And the chorus, the refrain is, Amen, Amen. So that part's a for sure, and then the rest just come along with us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'saflim bina lehavim bein yom ubein laila. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Amen. המאוויר שינה מעיניי, ותנומה מעפעפיי, amen. Oh, there's one more page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzel melchim, amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat horim, amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael, amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura, amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'tifara, amen. Well done. Well done. We turn now to 150, Psalm 150, page 135, and we continue that sense of making noise in God's temple. This is the description, the last in the book of Psalms, and literally they brought out all the instruments, pulled out all the stops. So we'll join them, 135, Psalm 150. We're heading now into the Baruch Hu, which is our ancient shofar call, and it's really the announcements that says the Shema is coming. Shema has a series of blessings around it, and it ends with us crossing the sea. The end of Shema is Mi Chamocha. So I thought I'd actually start us also with that image of the sea and share a teaching by David Curzon. He says, at the Sea of Reeds, in each generation, we exodus from Egypt, right? We come out from Egypt. We reach the sea, he says, and we look back in fear and protest against whoever led us there. Why'd they bring us to this desert just to die? Right? Can you hear yourselves or each of us this year at some point along the way? Why? We kill ourselves by drowning in the sea. Let us return to slavery and escape this annihilation. We'll fight the forces of enslavement unaided. We'll shout, we'll frighten them. But that generation, says another midrash, they stopped. They stopped their kvetching. They stopped their complaining. And they entered the waters up to their toes, and then their knees, eventually their lips and their nostrils, and only then did the miracle occur. So that's what is our opportunity this year, to head into that water one toe at a time until something opens up. I'll ask us all to rise and turn to page 142 for the Barhu. We stay standing and begin those blessings before the Shema, the first one being about light. We'll read a Mary Oliver poem on page 145. How about we have actually this side of the room read to this side, so you guys will start with the first paragraph. Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you wake me in the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories, and into the windows of even the miserable and the crotchety. Best creature that ever was, dear star that just happens to keep us from the ever darkness, to ease us in warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning, good morning. If you're wearing a talit, this is the moment where you gather up your frayed edges. Those of you even who aren't, I'm sure you got a few frayed edges you can pull in. So we'll pull them all in. We move from light to love. Ahava Rabbah on page 146. The bottom of actually 148, we'll say the closing blessing together. Very bottom of 148. Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava. Can take a seat, and we'll join together in the Ve'ahavta on page 152. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשופך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. On page 161, there's a beautiful poem that is actually paced out. You can almost see the Israelites walking with the beautiful spacing that they did in the design. Let's read it together. The Israelites walked into the Reed Sea 1 foot at a time. What were they thinking about as the water rose up their legs, chilling their hearts, advancing towards their open mouths? We continue to walk here now, 1 foot at a time, on our better days, forward. Alone, I cannot reach the far shore without drowning. Somehow, I don't go under. The person to my right holds me up. Something I cannot see holds him up. Blessed is the source of help, so unexpected. I step forward, the sea is vast. Mi chamocha, we step together into that sea, page 164.
There's an old Hebrew saying, Mishaneh makom, mishaneh mazal. Change your place, change your luck. The High Holy Days give us a chance to reflect on the ways we can change our luck, as it were. U'teshuva, u'tefila, u'tzedaka, ma'avirin et roa hagzera. Returning to the right path, prayer and righteous giving will help us ride out whatever comes our way. As we begin the Amidah, we proactively embody Mishaneh Makom, Mishaneh Mazal as we take 3 steps backward and then 3 steps forward, leaving behind the world or whatever it is we need to leave behind and entering a new space of majestic prayer. As Rabbi David Wolpe teaches, if you feel down, move, walk, dance, go. Part of sadness is immobility. Motion is life. We rise together in mind, body, and spirit on page 166 as we approach the Amidah. Let's be seated. Unetana Tokef presents a real, humbling theological challenge to our postmodern approach to who is in control of our lives. My classmate, Rabbi Abram Goodstein, taught me not to look at this prayer as forward-thinking, but to use it for reflection, looking at past deeds and using them to figure out what to improve upon in the future. Indeed, perhaps we can look at the relationship between reward and punishment not in direct relation, but perhaps as an agreement between ourselves and God and each other. An agreement about how we want to, as well as an affirmation to, express our love for each other. We continue responsively on the top of page 177. Listen, a still small voice within us. Hear now a sudden gust of the shofar. They ask, what are we? And what is the significance of our being in the world? Together, you are my witnesses, said Adonai, and I am God, which is to say, when you are my witnesses, I am God. And when you are not my witnesses, I am, as it were, not God. Adonai is your protection at your right hand. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev taught, the verse says, Adonai is your tzel, your shadow at your right hand. As the shadow follows the person, so it is with the divine.
This Unetana Tokef has a magnitude that in some ways can make people uncomfortable. And in some ways, it is a relief to know that we're not in control. Rabbi Cantor Arlene Bernstein wrote a beautiful description of a musical interpretation that we're about to hear of this. And she said, nowhere in our Jewish calendar season are we more aware of the fragility of life and our individual mortality than on the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The power of our prayers, poetry, and music that is interwoven through these words reaches far beyond the Jewish world. One of the ways that it reached beyond was to the late and great Leonard Cohen, who passed away in this past cycle of the year. And he, of course, drew upon the Unetana Tokef and wrote the famous Who by Fire. You have a copy of it in those little sheets, the green sheets. And we're about to hear these words. And I invite us to contemplate one of the questions that he points to, the very last question in each stanza. And who shall I say is calling? Because Leonard Cohen was not shy as a Jew. He was a real spiritual wrestler. I saw him in concert, and he gave a 3.5-hour concert in LA at age, I think, 87. And at one point, he got down on his hands and knees, and he reached out, and behind him there was the sign of Birkat Kohanim, and he was singing Hallelujah. And he had everybody in there. I mean, it was Yontif in the stadium for sure. And when I hear this, who shall I say is calling, I hear his audacity, really, to invite us to think about who is it that's calling us. So we'll be blessed to hear these new version by our own Andy Mayer and Who by Fire. Who is that is calling us?
together in the English on page 178. On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted? But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree. We rise together for the Kiddushah on page 184.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, הכתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, אבינו ומלכנו, ומושיענו והוא יושיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
I invite you to be seated and take these next few moments through page 214 for some individual silent prayer, reflection, and meditation.
Lidor vador, lidor vador, lidor vador, nagid God lecha. Ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedush atcha nakdish. Lidor vador, lidor vador, lidor vador, nagid God lecha. Ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedush atcha nakdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed, ki el melech gadol, ki el melech gadol, v'hakadosh ata. Lidor vador, lidor vador, lidor vador, nakdish God lecha. Ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedush atcha nakdish. Baruch atah Adonai. Ha'el, ha'kadosh.
Now on page 214, we arrive at this moment where we remember how in the temple in Jerusalem, the Kohanim had a very special role to become vessels through whom God's blessing would pass. And it was very clear that they were not the source of the blessings, but rather the blessing came from God. And in some ways this was illustrated by the way in which they held their hands, like this. Some of us who are old enough remember Dr. Spock. He was raised in an Orthodox synagogue, so he got half of it. Not Dr. Spock, Mr. Spock. So, thank you. Dr. Spock was why I wasn't spanked as a baby. That's what my mother told me. And they would hold their hands aloft like this. And they would become anonymous. They would put their telasim over their heads. And the idea here was that God was peering through, and God was the one that was giving the blessing. We are not giving the blessing, we are transmitting the blessing, and what a treat this afternoon that Cantor Merrill will be the main transmitter.
I'm filling in for Arlene.
That's right.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
On this holy day, it is the hope of all of us here that you be blessed with God's love. May God protect you and keep you.
Yared Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha.
May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May you see God's favor and goodness, and may you be granted the most precious gift, the gift of peace, of shalom. And together we say, Ken Yehi Ratzon.
And now, Sim Shalom, our prayer for peace.
Shana Tova. My name is Gary Hirschfeld, and I'm the president of the board of directors of your congregation. It is my privilege and honor to give my first High Holy Day remarks. And of course, my wish for all of you is that you have a sweet, happy, and healthy new year, 5778. Whether you are members here or guests or watching from home, our clergy, our staff, our lay leaders are all pleased you can join us today to celebrate the start of our High Holy Day season. Thank you to Leslie Mills, our executive director, and to her staff, as well as to the board of directors and all committee members for making this year's High Holy Day preparations. Thank you to Rabbis Burke, Rabbi Bernstein, Rabbi Solomon, and Rabbi Gimbel for your dedication that you have shown in making this High Holy Day season so meaningful for all of us. And thank you to my wife, Tracy, and to my children, Abby and Ilana, for the support that you provide me. Without your support, nothing I do would be possible. As you know, on Rosh Hashanah, our fate is written, and on Yom Kippur, our fate is sealed. And we begin each year with motivation and resolve to do better. Better to those we love and to the world that needs us. We ask for forgiveness from others, and we hope that we can do better the following year. Yet we forget to slow down, we forget to enjoy our lives, and especially our loved ones. We try to do more and more each year, and we forget that we only have so much time before it's all over. As such, I believe that we need to focus on building ourselves up and taking care of ourselves and those we love. We need to remember that it is okay to put down our phones, our tablets, and just be. We need to continue to nurture relationships and make for lasting friendships. It is family and community that makes us happy. It is helping others that matters, and it is study and prayer that will help us live longer, more fulfilling lives. we've all chosen to be part of our Beth Israel community. So what does it mean to make a choice to belong to a Jewish community? I think it means that we're looking for a place that is welcoming, a place where we can build relationships, and a place where we are supportive of each other, a place that addresses our profound spiritual yearnings, and a place where we can connect with Jewish tradition. We're looking for a place to call home. We're looking for a community. For me, I really believe Beth Israel is that place. And the more you take part in that community, the more connected you will feel. When we become part of the community, we become part of something much larger than ourselves. It certainly has been that way for my family and for me, and I am grateful. The bottom line is that our synagogue is a community that imparts and strengthens Jewish values so we can carry them more fully into our lives and into the world. And I am convinced that each one of us can make a profound impact by giving of our time and our treasure to this community. Speaking of time, let me give a sincere thank you to all of our volunteers who give of their time for this sacred community. All of the programs, all the activities we offer would not be possible without your commitment. Besides our staff and clergy, our volunteers are the backbone of Beth Israel, and dare I say, one of our greatest assets. I encourage each one of you to get involved, to become a volunteer for this community. It's a community that you should love and you should support, and I know you do. Please volunteer for the Hunger Project, Feed the Homeless on Sunday morning. You can support our Social Action Committee. It's been reinvigorated. Please contribute to one of our collections, perhaps help educate the congregation about any relative community issues that you're aware of or any expertise you bring. Come sing in the choir. Please enrich our lives and that of other members. Come to Minyan. Come to Torah study. It is very inspiring. Bring food to an oneg and share your favorite dessert or treat with us. Serve in our religious school as a volunteer. There are so many things one can do here. Please find your niche, wherever it is. It could be in caring community. We need to help those most in need in our congregation. Whatever it is, find something that is meaningful to you and make a difference. It is volunteerism that makes Beth Israel strong and ensures its vibrancy. And now to treasure. If we want the synagogue to remain relevant in our contemporary society, we also need to look at supporting our synagogue home with our financial support. And that is why, after months of discussions and intense research, I am pleased to report that the Board of Directors has approved a new membership commitment model, one that replaces traditional dues. This commitment model, or personal pledge system, which will launch next year in 2018-19, next year in 2018-19, Some of you, previously members of our Century Club, have already begun participating in this new model, and the results so far have been very encouraging. And we're adopting this model, which, as explained in greater detail in the bulletin that you received today, to hopefully better promote engagement and a more transparent financial culture here at Beth Israel. We want to eliminate dues negotiation, any discomfort associated with that membership process. We want our members to feel good about supporting Beth Israel. Hopefully this model will make it easier for members to make a pledge of support, and hopefully it'll encourage everyone to give as much as they can. Your pledge will be up to you, but I know that your pledge will help us keep our doors open and ensure a Jewish future for our children and our grandchildren. Finally, it will be up to each one of us to actively seek and engage in Jewish life in our community. You see, Judaism is more than a faith or a belief. It is about how we act in our everyday lives and how we treat other people. It is about transforming the everyday realm into something sacred, and it is about giving meaning to our lives. And as members of this Jewish community, we have the responsibility to care for others, to study, and to think seriously about how we express our Jewishness. Hopefully, we will do so in ways that are meaningful to each one of us and which make a difference to the lives of others. So please come study, come worship with us, come celebrate with us, stand with us, become engaged in Jewish life, and Please become involved in everything we offer. We offer a lot. In closing, if you think this is an appeal for more, it is. It is an appeal for your time, your treasure, your commitment to come and take part in what Beth Israel offers. You never know what you will find in these walls on this beautiful campus. I know it is something different for everyone, but I know you will find that something. So it is from my heart and from my actions that I tell you that it will be worth it. Thank you for everything you are already doing. And just please consider doing more, however you can, to enrich the lives of all of us. May you have a good new year, and may you all be sealed in the book of life for the coming year. Thank you.
We're now going to head into our Torah service. When we open the ark, we're confronted with our Torahs. It reminds us of what we're doing here on this Rosh Hashanah as we begin to confront the reality of our lives and to try and make decisions about how we live. So we're about to join together on page 223, Avinu Malkeinu. In many congregations, the entire Avinu Malkeinu is recited out loud, except for the last verse. Avinu Malkeinu, be gracious and answer us, for we have little merit. Act toward us with justice tempered by love, and bring us salvation. That last verse is recited softly, quietly. Why? Well, the Maggid of Dubna explained that tradition with this parable. The keeper of a small shop went on a buying trip to a large warehouse in the big city. Entering the warehouse, he loudly announced the order he was placing. I need 100 yards of velvet, 200 yards of pure silk, 100 yards of wool, and an order of buttons and threads. Immediately, the entire order was filled and neatly packaged in boxes. And when the invoice was presented, the shopkeeper, the shopper quietly whispered into the merchant's ear, "Sir, I don't have a penny to my name. Would you take a promissory note?" So we approach God loudly and proudly, maybe confidently, asking God to fulfill our personal prayers for life, good health, prosperity, redemption, salvation, and so on. However, after we finish loudly reading our wish list, we quietly and in hushed tones and with humility we add, be gracious to us, answer us, for we're penniless. Treat us generously and with kindness, and accept our promissory note. Page 223. Will you please rise if you're able? And we'll pray responsively. The clergy will lead the Hebrew, and you'll join in the English.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shma Kolenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chamo Aleinu ve'alo Aleinu v'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Dever V'cherev V'ra'av Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, all the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kol Tsar, Umastim Uma'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kodvenu b'sefer Chayim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness.
Together, Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, Answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love. So now let us take up the scroll of Torah and dance with it and touch it and read it out, for the mind touches the word and makes it light. So does light enter us, and we shine.
Amin. Heitiv avirtzoncha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Kivecha levad batachnu. Melech el ram v'nisa Adon olamim. Adonai, Adonai, el rachum v'chanun, erech apayim, v'rav chesed v'emet, notzer chesed la'alafim, nosei avon v'afesha, v'chata v'nakeh. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nurah shemo, Gadlu l'Adonai itim, uneromema shemo yachdav, lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagibura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod, ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'minaseh lecho ol lerosh. Omenu Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ishtachanu le'akodsho. Omenu Adonai Eloheinu, Shana Tova. This morning we read the Akedah. We find our patriarch Avraham hearing God's call to take his son, his only, whom he loves, Yitzchak, and offer him as a sacrifice. But before he can complete the horrific task, an angel of Adonai calls to Avraham, telling him not to harm his son. The Akedah, however, is more than just a story of a test of faith. It's a story of awakening. Avraham is first awakened to God's voice with the word Hineni, the same word we said last night. Here I am. Everett Fox tells us Hineni is a term frequently used to convey readiness, as if to say, yes, you have my attention now. The rabbis teach us that Isaac was 37 years old at this moment, but something in him awakened as he speaks his first words in the Torah. Avi, my father, he meekly says. And Avraham too is awakened to his son's request, which echoes God's request for Abraham's attention earlier in the story. And we as readers are meant to be awakened to the change in God language in this story. Until the moment Abraham grabs the knife to slaughter his son, he has heard the voice of Elohim. However, in that moment, an angel of Adonai calls to him and tells him not to stretch out his hand against his son. Tradition teaches that Elohim represents the natural world and justice, while Adonai is the name of God that represents mercy, transformation, and awakening. Indeed, Adonai is the one who originally calls to Avram at the time, to say, Lech Lecha. Each of us, in one way or another, have been faced this year with a moment or two that seemed like a test of faith, when in fact, upon reflection, it was a moment of awakening. This Rosh Hashanah, I invite you to ask yourself, to what will I be awakened? For what will I fully be present? How will I make a first impression? Will I notice a name change? Will I notice those stories who go untold?
So we're diving into one of the most impactful stories in all of Torah, and invite you to really enter in the story, put some skin in the game, as we would say, because this is a narrative that almost keeps on haunting us. We're going to have 5 aliyot this morning. And those who are reading, it's almost like you get a fortune cookie, depending on which aliyah you have. And I'm going to break down the aliyot according to various topics. So each of the aliyot folks will really be in it deeply, and invite you to kind of sign on, even if you're sitting there, to imagine which aliyah you might be coming for. And I'll give you the topics so that you can really come up energetically, even if you're not up here first. The first one is going to be about Hinenu, about really Hineni, becoming present, standing up. The second one is going to be about lifting our eyes. And the third is going to be about questions. And the fourth is again about hearing anew, Hineni, all anew. And the fifth is about seeing. So whatever bracha you need, whatever blessing you might need for this year, put yourself up here and connect with Torah, because this is one of the most primal stories that we have. You can turn in your machzor to page 240, and we're going to be chunking it up into 5 aliyot, so we'll start at the very top on page 240.
It is my honor to announce the Torah readers and those chanting Aliyot this morning. For the first Aliyah, our Torah reader will be Janine Feldman. Chanting the blessings before the Torah will be board members Jerry Goldberg, Peter Gordon, Greg Marco, Elisa Schuchter, Fred Valfer, and David Kuhn. And for the blessing after the Torah, Marcia Hazen and Lisa Foster.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bochar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayi ahar hadvarim ha'ele v'ha'elohim nisa et Avraham vayomer elav Avraham vayomer hineni vayomer kachna et bin hatid ha'shavta et Yitzchak velech leha el eretz haMoriah v'halehu sham leolam echad harim asher omar eleha vayashkem Avraham baboker vayahavosh et hamoro vayikach et shnei na'arav ito ve'et Yitzhak beno vayivaka atzei ahola vayakum vayelech El hamakom asher amar lo Elohim.
Touch, kiss, bless.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yashar koach. Past board members, so your bracha, you all can shift this way, board folks over here. This aliyah was becoming present about Hineni, and you all have done that so boldly for our community and our congregation, so we want to offer you the blessing that that leadership and that vision should continue from that place really of Hineni, of being present. May you have a sweet, sweet year, and Yashar koach to our amazing chanter, walking us into that story of real intrepidation. For the second aliyah.
For the second Aliyah, our Torah reader will be Helene Schlafman. For the blessing before the reading, with the chanting, Lee and Frank Goldberg. And for the blessing after, Edward Goldberg, Annie Nagorner, Susan and Bernard Feldman.
So we're on that same page, page 240, verse 4. The first word in that aliyah is bayom. And this is on the third day, Abraham is getting ready to make this pilgrimage, to leave leave his past and put his future child, well, his actual child, but his metaphoric future on the piles. So you can imagine, really put yourself in this experience of being called upon to make a sacrifice you didn't know that was even possible. Something beyond what you thought you could give, right? Which is our own flesh. So that's the intensity. We're turning up the heat a bit on 240 verse 4. So let's hear the blessing.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbonu mikol ha'amim v'yosan lonu es torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Bayom hashlishi vayisa Avraham et einav vayar et hamakom merachok vayomer Avraham el ne'arav shavu lachem po im hachamor va'ani v'hana'ar ne'acha ad ko v'nishtachaveh v'nashuva aleichem vayikach Avraham et atzei ha'olah vayasem al Yitzchak beno vayikach biado et ha'esh ve'et ha'ma'achelet vayelchu shnehem yachdav.
Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah v'emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Mazel tov, everybody. Good Yantif. This crew can descend and this crew can shift over. That second aliyah was about lifting our eyes. So I want to offer you the blessing this year that you might lift your eyes and see something new, right? We can just go on autopilot, cruise control, and this is the year to really lift our eyes and look for something new to be seen. So that's my blessing for you. The third aliyah.
For the third aliyah, our Torah reader will be Russ Gold. Then chanting the blessing before will be Robert Blumberg, and the blessing after will be Yvonne Lazar.
Guys can come close. We're heading into verse 7 on page 240. The first word is Vayomer.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Yitzchak el Avraham avi, Vayomer avi, Vayomer hineni v'ni, Vayomer hine ha'esh v'ha'itzim, Vayehasel yolah, Vayomer Avraham Elohim יראה לו הסה הדבר בני, וילכו שניהם יחדיו, ויבואו אל המקום אשר אמר לו אלוהים, ויבן שם אברהם את המזבח, ויערוך את העצים, ויעקוד את יצחק בנו, וישם אותו על המזבח ממעל לעצים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yasher Koach. Y'all can take a seat. This crew can slip around the other side. That last aliyah, it's very intense to hear this description that Abraham has kindled the pile, and he has the knife, and he's raising the knife. And it's at that point that Yitzchak says, Abba, where is the sheep? And so I want to bless you all that this be a year of asking questions, hard questions. Where is the sheep is just the beginning, but really asking in moments of critical intensity, when you might just assume something, to instead ask, where is the sheep? For the Mishaberach, we're going to take a pause at this moment in between the aliyot. We pause at the third aliyah for prayers for healing for those who are in need. So go ahead and call into your heart and mind someone who you want to send this grandeur to and this opportunity to come together and find peace and solace. And we'll join together in the Mishaberach on page 245. We enter back into the sacred narrative, turning to page 241. And this is our fourth aliyah. And the first word is Vayishlach Avraham. Avraham is going to send out his hand. So I'd like to call up those folks.
For the fourth aliyah, our Torah reader will be Abby Hirschfield, Chanting the blessing before will be our 2017 Israel Teen Group, Olivia Balo, Alona Eaton, Amanda Levy, and Julia Berniker. And for the chanting after, Catherine and Andrew Garman.
Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Hamim, V'natan Lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai, Notein HaTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayishlach Avraham et yado, v'yika et hama'achelet, lishchot et beno, vayikra elav malach Adonai min hashamayim, vayomer Avraham, Avraham, vayomer hineni, vayomer al tishlach yadecha al hanar velo ta'aslo ne'uma ki ata yadati ki yireh Elohim ata velo hasachta et bincha et yechidecha mimeni. Touch, kiss, bless.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yashar koach, yashar kochik, such power in reading those tremendous verses. You all are our future in more ways than one, particularly that you are going to be our shluchim, our messengers. This class is heading to Israel on our Platt family trip. And so we're sending you already, as you begin to get ready for that experience, to really take us with you and take that land in, even before you arrive. And that last aliyah about, and Abby chanted it so powerfully, that second Hinenu, when she chanted Avraham, Avraham, and Abraham called back Hinenu. I want to offer you all the blessing that this year may be a year of being called and hearing your name, actually being called, and then arriving to that call. So not just showing up, but showing up. So blessings for a sweet new year for all of you. For our final aliyah.
For the fifth aliyah, our Torah reader will be Shana North. The blessing before will be Sima and Joe Oppenheimer, and the blessing after, Susan Schmalow.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach. Baruch Adonai Hamorach L'olam Voed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'nu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayisav Avraham et einav, vayar vehine bas vach bekarnav. Vayelech Avraham, vayikach et ha'ayil, vayalehu le'olah tahat beno. Vayikra Avraham, Shem hamakom hahu, Adonai yireh, Asher ye'omer hayom, behar Adonai yera'eh. Vayikra Malach Adonai el Avraham Shenit min hashamayim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And that last aliyah about the mountain of God being about seeing, I want to give you all the blessing that you might see from mountains and actually see God, that you could come to new ramot, new levels in your life, and experience holiness in new ways that invigorate you and sustain you for this new year.
And now, lifting the Torah will be David Kuhn. Our Torah dresser is Linda Balfour, and our Torah holder is Fred Balfour.
We all rise as the Torah is lifted.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe Yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 lai
Are we?
No.
No, not yet. Haftorah can take a seat.
Our Haftarah reading this morning comes from the book of 1 Samuel and tells the story of Hannah. Hannah offers an incredible example of persistence in the face of adversity. Despite her infertility, she still participates in the yearly festival rituals. But what makes this story really remarkable is that her fate seems to change when she offers a spontaneous prayer, separate from the routine sacrifice. Perhaps the lesson for us in this story is that we can sit together and sing and pray the words of our machzor, but when we add our own voices, when we add our own souls, and yes, sometimes even our own language to prayers, perhaps then we'll have a more desirable outcome.
I now call to the bima Corey Briggs, who will chant the blessing before Haftarah. Chanting Haftarah this morning will be Jim Spivak. Chanting the blessing after Haftarah will be Siki Kachatori.
The blessing before can be found on page 247.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher bakar binvim tovim beritzav divrechem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai haboker batorah uv Moshe avdo uv Yisrael amo Uvini vaye ha'emet v'tzedek.
Vayehi eshehad min haramatayim sofim mehar Ephraim Ushmo Elkanah Ben Yeroham Ben Elihu Ben Tohu Ben Suv Ephrati Velo Shetei Nashim Shem Ahad Hana V'Shem Hashenit Panina Vayehi Liftina Yeladim Uhana Ein Yeladim Ve'ala Ha'ish Hahu Me'iro Miyamim Yamima Lahishtahavod V'lizboach Ladanai Sevaot V'shilo V'sham Shanei V'ne'ili Hofni Ufin Kohanim Ladonai Vayihi Hayom V'lizbach Elkanah Vanatan Lifnina Ishto Ukobaneha Uvnoteha Manod Uhana Yitain Manahat Apaim Ki Hetana Ahev Varanai Sagar Rakma.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzadik bekol hadorot ha'el hane'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamidaber umikayem shekol devarav yemet v'tzedek al haTorah Ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al hanivi'im, ve'al yam hazikaron hazeh. Shenen tata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, lechavod ultifaret. Al hakol, Adonai Eloheinu, anaknu modim lak. Umivarchim otak, yitbarak simha, befi kol hai, tamid leolam va'ed, udivarcha emet, v'kayam la'ad. Baruch ota Adonai, melech kol haaretz, mekadesh Israel, ויום הזיכרון. Amen.
To open the ark, to return the Torah, we'd like to call up Iris and Matthew Strauss. And as we return the Torah to the ark, I invite you to please rise. Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darcheinu v'kol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva kadesh yameinu kekedem.
I feel like we should have a stretch break if anybody needs to move around, take a breath. Bird tracks in the sand by the shore of the sea, like handwriting that someone left to remember. Words, names, numbers, and places. Bird tracks in the sand at night remain also by day. But I didn't see them, the bird that left them. That is the way it is with God. This is a prayer by Israeli poet Yehuda Amichai, who wrote these words, and they've always haunted me. How many times have we walked along the beach and seen the tracks of birds or feet and wondered about who might have left them? Amichai says that this is the way it also is with God, who leaves tracks in the sand, evidence of beauty, traces of presence, hints of the greater mystery and unfolding of the universe. At this season, the high holidays, we both imagine God as Avinu Malkeinu, as our Father and our King, and as Kol Dmama Daka, a still small voice, says Elijah. In our Machzor, our prayer book, and in our minds, we volley between God as totally transcendent and God as somewhere present deep within each of us. I believe that both are true. God is as high as the greatest mountain and as strong as the deepest current. The Holy One, however you call him or her or them or it, is as subtle as our fingerprints and as delicate as a new heart beating. In our world this past year, perhaps you've seen and felt God's presence within us as people kayak to their homes after hurricanes, rebuild their lives, or bury their loved ones after illness or shootings. It seems like our world is spinning so fast and dangerously. And yet, hopefully, we have also felt God's presence with us as we've witnessed newlyweds holding hands, celebrating big birthdays, regain strength after a health challenge. Perhaps we've helped a child to learn to read or given a kind word to a stranger. There are most definitely bird tracks in the sand at night, and they remain in the day. I agree with Amichai that this is the way it is with God and with us. And we know, especially at this season, we are here briefly on this earth, making tracks, and hopefully the best of our tracks will remain far into the days to come. The tracks that I'd like to speak about today with you are not of a bird, but they often happen at night. These are the tracks of trafficking. While we know that our globe has been struck by natural disasters, hurricanes, and tornadoes, we also know that people are causing damage to each other across the globe. Women and girls in particular face discrimination and alarming rates of violence. American Jewish World Service estimates that 1 in every 3 women will be physically abused during her lifetime and will experience sexual violence or some other form of terror. In developing countries, often the numbers are even more devastating. Early in Genesis, we read of the first siblings, Cain and Abel, born of Adam and Eve. Cain was a tiller of the soil, and Abel a herdsman and a hunter. Each made an offering of their first fruits. Cain gave of his first harvest, and Abel his first flock. And God raised or lifted up Abel's offering and did not lift up Cain's. Moments later, Cain's face falls, his anger rises, and his hand rises to hurt his brother. This is actually the first murder in Torah, the death of a brother. The next brothers, Ishmael and Isaac, are separated by their parents. Ishmael is sent away by Abraham and becomes the forebearer of our Muslim neighbors. The next siblings, Jacob and Esau, twins this time, struggle even in their mother's womb, and for sure in life. I'd like to return to those first siblings of Cain and Abel. You might immediately be ready to point the finger at God and say, well, why didn't God lift up Cain's offering? And I would invite us to point that finger back at us. God creates us in the world. We do the rest. We make up the meanings, we make the choices, we make the mistakes, and we make the differences. We are our own puppeteers, for better or worse. And from the Torah verses, we hear a chilling question and an even more stirring response. After Cain kills Abel, God says to him, Vayomer Adonai el Cain, E hevel achicha. Where is Abel, your brother? Vayomer lo yadati. And Cain says back, I do not know. Hashomer achi anochi? Am I my brother's keeper? This year I'd like to explore this question with you. Are we our brother or our sister's keepers? I believe that we are, and especially now, our sisters are in urgent need of our attention. Atzum, a nonprofit in Israel, calls human trafficking the equivalent of modern-day slavery. It's estimated that between 600 to 800,000 people, mostly women and children, are trafficked across borders and worldwide every year. The Polaris Project reports that 20.9 million victims of human trafficking occurs globally. It is among the fastest growing illegal activities in the world. Polaris again and Monies are flagging the staggering impact that the receding of the Deferred Action of Childhood Arrivals, DACA, would have on the swelling of trafficking, particularly for children. And natural disasters, too, of course, increase the risk of human trafficking. Oi, our world! After drugs and armed trafficking, human trafficking is the third most profitable criminal activity. After drugs and armed trafficking, human trafficking is the third most profitable criminal activity. Forced labor, including slavery, Atsum reports, generates $31 billion a year. $31 billion a year. Traffickers often use high-paying jobs, safe entry into foreign countries, and lure victims into sexual or labor exploitation. This issue of trafficking was first brought to my attention in Israel. I was around 20 years old, fresh out of college, meandering the globe. I hitchhiked, of course, my way to Israel, and visited a teacher of mine, Rabbi Levi Lauer, for Shabbat in Jerusalem, a Reform rabbi totally immersed in study and halakha, Jewish law, and values of tzedek and mishpat, justice and dignity. He started an organization in his living room called Atsum, an acronym meaning Avodat Tzedakah Umishpat, justice works. This organization they do four things. They support the remaining righteous of the nations, non-Jews who rescued Jews during the Holocaust who live in Israel. They support families of victims of torture and are persistent in their campaigns against the alarmingly high rate of human trafficking and sex trafficking in Israel. Nicholas Kristof has been writing about sex trafficking in America and the alliance between Google and the National Online Advertising Depository Backpage. According to Kristof, it's involved in 73% of the cases of suspected child sex trafficking in the United States. With trepidation, I went online and looked at backpage.com. It's as easy as typing in Google. It's essentially a Craigslist type of bulletin board. There's a dating section, men looking for women, women looking for men, etc. And then there's a section that just says T, the letter T. I'm not sure, frankly, if it's for trans, people looking to date, but when I clicked on it with a lot of hesitation, immediately popped up multiple warnings about the exploitations of minors and human trafficking, a hotline number for the Children of the Night and its founder, Dr. Louise Lee, who has worked, and she personally has helped rescue 10,000 children from child prostitution since 1979, when the Hillside Strangler killed a 17-year-old girl, and the police said that they had no interest in information about a missing whore. Friends, this is heavy, 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 heavy stuff. And I know the fears are high just from leaving our homes, getting on planes, going online. And yet, Amichai also wrote, a person in our lifetime has no time to have a time for everything. Instead, Amichai tells us that we have to hate and love all at once, to cry and to laugh with the same eyes, to throw stones and to gather them up, to make love in war and war in love. So as the world rages on outside, what is the cause that you want to put your energy towards this year? What burning bush will you notice? They're burning everywhere, and they are not being consumed. What issue could you learn more about and make a difference towards? It might be human trafficking and the safety and the dignity of women and girls around the globe. It might be creating a garden in your backyard and learning more about food deserts in urban cities. You might aim to get focused on your health and sweat a couple times a week. You might reach out to your uncle or your cousin who you haven't spoken with in a decade. You might read at night instead of Snapchat or Facebook. What's your cause? What will you and your life cause this year? Better dinner table conversations, Shabbat with friends once a month, studying Hebrew, singing to those who are alone in the hospital. What mitzvah could you take on that could actually change you? Where is your brother? Where is your sister? This year, our Social Action Committee has 5 areas of focus: developing deeper interfaith connections, San Diego impact, green issues, food security, and gender and sexual rights. Related to this last area, we're aiming to make a difference on 3 levels. First, locally, building efforts with our women of Beth Israel. We will see how else we can support Rachel's House, an important neighborhood resource with times, funds, and soul. 2, relative to Israel, I hope to bring out my teacher, Rabbi Levi Lauer, out from Jerusalem to teach us more about these issues and how Israel is responding to address its care for women and girls. Number 3, internationally, as you know, I have a long connection with American Jewish World Service, having served as Ruth Messenger's assistant. Robert Banks, Ruth Messenger's new appointed president, is actually going to come out to San Diego and be with us on January 31st for a screening of Little Stones, a film about violence against women and girls. In this way, our justice-related efforts to support particularly women and girls and those affected by trafficking and gender-related violence will be targeted in San Diego, to Israel, and internationally. It's my prayer that this Rosh Hashanah, we might each hear the question fresh and with greater urgency. Where is your brother? Where is your sister? And that we might reply with an answer that challenges us beyond what and who we thought we could be. We cannot play small this year. We must play all out, and we must play big. Speaking of playing big, the dean of my seminary, Rabbi Sharon Cohen Anisfeld, will be out Shabbat Sukkot in just a couple weeks to bless our community and invite you to come and hear her Torah and her song. She's a remarkable teacher, a national thought leader, and an agent for Tikkun Olam. This year, Rabbi Cohen Anisfeld wrote about the ram's horn, and she emphasized that the power of the ram's horn is that it beckons us back to when the ram itself appeared, at the last minute, out of nowhere, when it was almost too late. Some of us might wake up daily or weekly with this haunting feeling that maybe it's too late. This year, it is not too late. Rabbi Cohen Anisfeld reminds the ram's horn is silent at first, as is the ram, caught in the thicket, waiting for Abraham to lift his head and see. And yet tradition reminds us, of course, it was there, that ram, all along, since twilight on the first eve of the first Shabbat, we are told, before darkness fell. It was waiting, that ram, for us to open our eyes, to see another way. It's not just our stubbornness that blinds us. Sometimes it's the commanding voice of faith. Sometimes it's the commanding voice of despair. And sometimes it's the thicket itself, the thorny, tangled overgrowth of our lives. Rabbi Cohen Anisfeld goes on, it's not that we're blind, we're just busy. Schlepping the wood, tending the fire, building the altar, trying to get the children quiet, trying to answer their questions, even though God knows we can't even answer our own. Here's the part where Rabbi Cohen Anisfeld's writing, and more important, her presence in this world brings me to my feet. She says, up until the angel calls out and Abraham looks up until the ram suddenly appears caught in the thicket, the trajectory of the story, the tragic momentum of the story seems irresistible, irreversible, inevitable. The sacrifice has to be offered. The child will die. I hear and I see this ancient and yet modern thicket as I read about the 25 types of human trafficking in the United States alone. 25 ways that humans traffic each other. Each of us created in the image of the divine, being sold for paper and coin on the streets. Today, this Rosh Hashanah, this shofar, reminds us of this terrifying story set in tragic momentum and asks us to consider the thicket of our own lives. What possibilities have you not yet seen? What story are we telling ourselves? What's the outcome that we already know? What alternatives have we not noticed? Look up, listen, incline your ear to the hollow, bent ram's horn, through which the human breath summons and a blast is sounded. After all, the voice of our brothers and our sisters' blood is crying out from the ground, Kol damei achicha, tzoakim alai min ha'adama. The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Ma asita. And God said to us, what have you done? What will you do? We end where we began, like handwriting that someone left to remember. Words, names, numbers, places. Bird tracks in the sand at night remain also in the day, but I didn't see them. I didn't see the bird that left them. And that is the way it is with God and with us, unless it is not. The choice, the life, the year is ours to live. We take a few moments of contemplation to explore where this lands for us, what the opportunities we might see for ourselves through the thicket of our own lives. We turn now to our shofar service to hear that ram's horn sounded. We turn to page 206 for the blessings.
It is my honor to call to the bima George Schur, who will chant the shofar call, and Steve Remish and David Estrin sounding shofar this morning.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'echianu v'kiyamanu, והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Tekiah. Shevarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shevarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah.
Turn to page 268. And as the shofar blows for Zichronot, we ask God too to never forget, to remember that we, as God's heirs of Abraham, are worthy of mercy. Page 268. Please rise.
Tekiah. Shevarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shevarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah.
Areshet Zifatei.
Now on page 284, the third section, Shofarot. This is reminiscent or to remind us that our hope has always been that when the Messiah comes, it will be announced by the blast of the shofar. This represents our eternal hope, what Jews introduced into the world, the idea of hope, that things will get better, that with our partnership with God, we can make the world worthy of the Messiah's coming. So let's rise now as we hear the Shofarot blasts.
Tekiah. Shevarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shevarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah Gadolah.
Shikoah.
just another 20 minutes. Just kidding. I'm sorry. I want to thank a few people. I want to thank Andrew Mila Wingard, and Jeff Myers, and our professional and Beth Israel High Holy Days Choir for creating such beauty in our worship today. A special thank you to Cantor Emeritus Sheldon Merrill for once again sharing your beautiful voice with us. We are especially thankful to Iris and Matthew Strauss, who could not be here today, who have sponsored our High Holy Days music this season, but we feel their presence in the music that they've so much sponsored for us. We're happy to invite families with young children to our Tat Rosh Hashanah service at 4 p.m. here at Beth Israel. Tickets are not required. At 6 p.m., we will gather at Tashlich La Jolla Shores. You'll see our Beth Israel banner on the right side of the main lifeguard tower on the sand, and we encourage you to bring a picnic and stay with us for dinner following the services. Tomorrow, our second day of Rosh Hashanah service starts at 9:30. It is a wonderful service. I invite you all to attend, and tickets are not required. On Sunday, our clergy will hold 2 Kever Avot memorial services, and you can find more information in the lobby and on our website. Finally, our Break the Fast on Yom Kippur is dedicated to the memory of Mickey Stern. Mickey was generous enough to underwrite our Break the Fast since 2011, and we honor her in that way by continuing the tradition she so started. For questions throughout the day, that's it, we're done today, never mind. Please visit our website. L'Shana Tova Tikatevu, may you be sealed in the book of life for a good and sweet new year. Thank you.
We begin to conclude our service on page 286 with Aleinu L'Shabeach. I invite you to please rise as you're able. Aleinu L'Shabeach, Laton HaKol, Latet Gedula, Leotzer Bereshit, Shelo Asanu Kehoye Haratzot, Velo Samanu, Kemishpachot Ha'adama, Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem, Vegoraleinu Kevol Amonam, Va'anachnu Korim, Umishtavavim, Umodim, Livnei Melech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'ne'emar, V'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We remain standing as we hold the memories of those we love as we join together on page 292, Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata. tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. We put our prayer books down, we put our arms around each other as we join together in Hayom.
Shana Tova.